It feels so overpowered. Yes! I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't get nervous with these test runs. I don't know how this thing is gonna be. Hi friends, and welcome to part 4 of our super skiff build, the DIY super rad 50-mile-per-hour skiff. In this video, we finally worked out our issues with the motor. You're gonna see some test runs, and we got a lot more done on the build. So if you haven't checked out the first or second or third episode of this build, you'll wanna check it out. Click the link above. Without further ado, let's get to building. Here we go, third time's a charm. The rain is past. I took off the other cowl. I was having problems with the pull start. I just ran this motor for like an hour under load in a tank. I took it over to my buddy's shop. No issues whatsoever. I don't know. I might be getting bamboozled by this motor, but it's acting like a fuel problem. You know, I'm gonna take it back to the ramp and I'm gonna give it another go. Here we go, third time's a charm. Let's see. What do you think, buddy?
I think third time's a charm, right?
That's what I just said.
Except it's a little windy.
All right, so here I am. I just did the third try. Third time was not a charm, but it was a learning process nonetheless. I've pretty much narrowed it down. So it was running fine under partial load. Full load, it would run strong and then die out as if it's using up all the fuel in the carburetor in the bowl. Even though I just redid the carburetor, you know, you never assume that the first time you go through a carburetor, everything's kosher. With very high possibility, even though I tried to clean out the lines as good as possible, maybe in the fuel pump that I used before, maybe in one of the lines, there was some debris, something kind of worked loose. I think I'm gonna hopefully find a culprit when I take this carburetor apart. We'll see. A couple minutes from the shop, so, you know, it's all part of the process. Get a boat! It'll be great, they said. Here's something interesting. 25 horsepower, 35 horsepower. 25, 35, 25, 35. It's crazy, you just swap the carb and that's a big increase. So sometimes on the 25s, the intake won't be as big. All you have to do is take the intake off and bore it out. So Travis has a theory. I said, should I put the 25 on? The 25 carb. We've got a couple here. Go through, do a quick clean. Travis's theory is the boat gods above will let us run a 25 and it could save my life, because let's be honest, this ride is super sketchy with the 35.
Got a little squirrely at quarter throttle. Only leads me to believe 25 should be fine.
Okay, we're going 25. We're gonna make the boat gods happy. Here it is, end of the day. The wind is ripping. Test run number 4. This is it. I got a good feeling. I really hope this works. All right, motor's running good. So this is a whole nother carburetor that I cleaned up, one that it came off of a running motor, new gaskets. So far it's running awesome. Moment of truth. Making power. Yes! Woo! 25 on again. What a difference. Oh man. This is it. She's ready to go. This, you can even hear the difference from before. This carburetor, oh man. I gotta call Travis. Maybe Travis was bad luck all these times. I'd like to take this moment to thank you guys for watching. If this is your first time here, I hope you're enjoying the channel so far. We've got a ton of crazy builds. And for those of you that are regulars, you guys know I love all the channel support, your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. I do these videos for you. You guys rock. Thank you, thank you. On with the video. All right, time for test run. I don't have a paddle. This will be my paddle. Travis is on his way. I'm gonna give this thing a go. I am nervous. I don't wanna go swimming right now. Oh God. I'm telling you, this thing is so tipsy at speed. I don't know. Okay, so here's the real world guess. Whew. This motor is running so strong, especially compared to earlier today, and it felt terrifying earlier today. I'm gonna make my guess. I know it's gonna rev this prop out, but with my partial throttle, I'm not even gonna go near full throttle. I think this boat's gonna go over 30 in its sleep, probably 35. If I go with, oh God, I don't know. I'm nervous. Oh well, let's put this thing in the water and go for a run. Just got back. Travis got some video from here land. It was so terrifying. I didn't even think about taking my phone out. It feels every bit of 35, 40 miles an hour. Like no problem. It's scooting along. It instantly like revs out, hits that speed. The acceleration's incredible, but it needs a bigger prop, which I knew that. We're winning, bro. Yes.
Yep. No crashes.
No crashes.
Fourth time's the charm today.
Fourth time. Well, end of the day, we're gonna load it up and go. What a mega success. Holy crap. This thing's gonna eat up 50 miles an hour. I already know it. Let me tell you what, today has been quite the adventure. We have been going back and forth with this thing. You might have heard Travis say 4 tries, but at the end of it all, it was actually carburetor issues. You know, it goes to show you the lesson with today is that even though you might go through something, and I've had this happen before, I'll go through a carburetor. If it's really old, real gummy, there might be stuff that you can't see. And even though you soak it in one of those carb cleaning solutions that are, you know, mega toxic, sometimes it takes cleaning a carburetor 2 or 3 times thoroughly with brushes and tip cleaners and compressed air and going back and forth. But that's what it took today, or will take with the carburetor that I originally tried. At the end of it all, I ended up swapping carburetors for one that had been redone, but I still took that one apart. It was a running carburetor. I put new gaskets, new float, basically a whole rebuild kit. Let me tell you what, if it was calm water today, I might have already hit 40 miles an hour. Honestly, this thing is so fast. But the 50 mile an hour, I mean, I still haven't even played with the motor height yet. So motor height, a couple little tricks I'm going to do to the bottom. 50 miles an hour is right there. And I know that's a huge difference from 40 to 50. But when you're already skipping across the surface of the water, all of it just comes down to this area. There's a famous boat racer, I think Reggie Fountain said it, but you know, like 95% of speed is everything below the water line. Horsepower is good, but it's the drag and what's touching the water, what's cutting through the water. So that's what I'm going to focus on with the prop. Again, that's under the water. And I mean, this is it. This thing, I'm still on a high from this. All right, so next step is I want to do this front little deck area. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to fill this void. Kind of get an idea there. I want to fill this void with expanding foam. So the foam I'm going to use is just a 2-pound density. It's more of a flotation foam. It's closed cell. It doesn't absorb water. It's pretty much Coast Guard approved type of foam. Not that I really care for doing this, but it's a good foam. It's left over from a job. The thing about using this is it's a 2-part. It's equal parts, A and B. You mix it up and you've got like 10 seconds as it's mixed to start pouring it. It's gonna start to expand that fast. It's a little bit cool out today, so that's gonna help when it's really hot out. It goes super quick. Part A, part B. Mix it up, stir it up. One of the things is putting this console into the skiff. See how it fits. Whew, it's close. Have to trim a little bit. Thing's looking kind of ugly. Can't be making this skiff look all ugly. All right, so I'm in the car. Yesterday was an amazing test run. There's one thing that I knew for certain, and that was that I'm not gonna have a big enough prop. I definitely need a higher pitch prop. I don't really have the budget to just go drop money on random props just for testing purposes. So what I'm doing now is I'm heading over to Marine Parts Outlet. I've mentioned them in some of my past videos, but this is like my toy store. If there is a favorite place for me to go, it's Marine Parts Outlet. Dan is the owner. Jonathan's a mechanic there. Bob, Marcy, and parts. Like these people in place, it's amazing. New parts, used parts, everything that I can even dream of is there. They're a dealership as well for boat motors, for trailers. I'm hoping that in the huge yard of used motors, especially some older stuff, they've got a huge inventory, that I can find some used props that will be good for testing and save a couple bucks. Fingers crossed that I can find some good props. I went inside and spoke with Dan already about coming out here and looking for stuff. I don't just randomly walk back on the property. All right, so I'm pretty stoked. I found 2 props so far, a 13 pitch and a 15 pitch, which is actually perfect. And then I found a second prop, which is right over here. I remember. Where did I find that? I'm lost. There's so many golden treasures here. I lose track of what's where. Wait, no, okay. Let's see what we've got. Where is it hiding? Oh, let's see. Here we go, right here. So we've got another prop. Here's a 13 pitch. So looking at it, you know, it's worn. It's got some chips and stuff like that. It's not, you know, it's a used old prop. So I'm going to pull this off and kind of inspect them a little farther, but that's perfect. You know, clean them up, sand them down a little bit, get rid of some rough edges. At least it's something to test out and get a better idea for where we want to be power-wise or prop-wise with this motor and skiff setup. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab my tools real quick, and Dan gave me permission to pull these 2 props, and then we'll inspect them a little farther. So let's do it. So this is an 11 pitch prop, a 13, and a 15. All right, so here's the moment we've been waiting for. Heading to the boat ramp. Got the 15 pitch prop So that's quite an upgrade from an 11, although it's an 11 stainless, so that's like a 12 aluminum comparison or comparable. 15 pitch prop, heading to the boat ramp. Gonna bring a GPS, record with it. So let's see what this thing does. All right, here it is. 15 pitch prop. I don't know. I guess we're gonna see how it does. Got my old phone. Bust out the Navionics. Let's see what the GPS does. The expanding foam is nice and dry. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to buzz this down first and foremost. And then I'm going to do a quick little prep inside. My goal for today is to put in this floor in this area. Boop, boop, boop. And to buzz down the deck here. Basically, I want all of this to be raw wood. Then I can coat it and protect the wood. It'll look nice and be durable and be waterproof first and foremost. So this is my donor piece. This is a piece of Divinicel that's been laminated, one lamination on both sides, but this is going to be the floor section. So I'm going to be able to grind all this. After I've ground it down, I'm then going to do my little template, make the template, transfer it onto the board. And after I cut in my piece, I'm then going to bond that in. My friends at FGCI, I just got some new products from them, which is a big announcement that I'm going to be dropping on you guys very soon. But in the meantime, they sent me some new products. I'm going to be bonding that in with their bonding putty, which is awesome. And then I'm going to be glassing this over. I've got a couple of their different resins, including their epoxy resin that I'm going to be using. This is a funky build because since I incorporated pieces like this that were made out of epoxy, the only way I could bond that into this boat, which is a polyester boat, so like the sides, that's all polyester resin. So it's real easy to bond in with epoxy. You have to use epoxy, but polyester resin won't bond to epoxy. Make sense? So like up here, when I put in the floor, this was all epoxied in. This is epoxy covered Divinicel. So when I lay the deck across, I'm gonna have to use epoxy on this back side to wrap. But for the front, I'm gonna bond it in with polyester products, the bonding putty, and then polyester resin. I've got their boatyard resin, which is really awesome. I'm excited for you guys to see it. And yeah, that's the plan. All right, so I got it leveled out. I think pretty accurate. The way I'm checking it is I'm just running this tape measure across. If you kind of hold a tape measure on the edge, it stays pretty straight. So I'm just running it across, and that's what I used as my reference to see how good I've leveled it out. And it's kind of adjustable. So yeah, if I knock down a little too much, it's not the end of the world. I'll just use some bonding putty and do a coat of that, and that's going to help stick it to the foam anyhow and get rid of any flop or movement in there. You can see we already knocked it down. So now I just got to tune the edges up with the sander. I'll just use the orbital sander. Gets a little bit tighter, more detailed, but this is going to look great. I have certain pieces that I've picked through the years and like some real favorite pieces. And these pieces off of Waterworld, this old deck just, oh God, looks so good when it's clean. All right, so got it all sanded. I used the belt sander and then took the orbital sander just in the edges. So it's ready. God, this is gonna look so good. Whew. So what we're using here is, this is just, one side is smooth, a little bit glossy, other side's rough. So I just get a sheet of this. It's dirt cheap. You get it at Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever hardware places buy you. But this is just like a door skin. I need to look up the name of this stuff. If you know what this stuff is, comment in the comment section. But I trim it into little sections, and then this is what we're gonna use for our template. So I'm gonna use the hot glue gun, and we're just gonna make our template piece by piece. The key for doing this is that when you glue, put your glue on the glossy side. By nature, you would think that you would glue on the rough textured side, but it doesn't stick nearly as well. Go smooth to smooth. So we're gonna alternate. You'll see how we do it now. Now I can simply take this and transfer it to this piece. See what we got. Oh! Perfect fit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sand, basically scuff the surface, give it a light sand with my little angle sander, and scuff up the bottom, get it ready to bond in. So yeah, I'm mixing up some bonding putty soon and we'll be rocking and rolling. All right, so this is FGCI's high performance bonding putty. This is like the creme de la creme of bonding putties. This right here is what you use really to bond anything in a boat. If you want to bond foam to fiberglass, if you want to bond fiberglass to fiberglass, if you want to bond wood to fiberglass, this is what you would use. So right now I'm going to use this to bond the floor panel in. I'm gonna let that dry and then come back from lunch, and we're gonna go wet on wet with this. So this right here is my best friend. It saves so much time and gives you a much better job in consistency and strength. So what we'll do is use this along the radiuses, and then I'll do my fiberglass wet right on top of it. So what I did was I mixed up the bonding putty, and I basically spread it over the foam, troweled it on, and then where I felt a little bit of flex in the floor when I pre-fit it, I just put up a little clump that's just to fill in the gap. So what that's gonna do is, now that I've got the floor panel bonded in, I got weight on it, it's gonna dry while I go to lunch, That's the other great thing. In an hour, I mean, this stuff is going to be pretty damn solid. So I'm going to go take lunch. I'll be able to come back, take this weight off, and then we'll go through the steps to laminate this deck. All right, so back from lunch. Woo! Yes. It is dry, so I've got it all stuffed up. What I'm gonna do now is mix up some more. I'm gonna do my radius, my fillet, and then I'm gonna do my glass, just wet right on top of that, and it's gonna be good. Maybe I'll actually record doing fiberglass this video. Let's see. So I got it laminated. I went right to the edge here. Came out good. I'm happy with it. All right. Here we are. Everything dried last night. The deck looks good. Super happy with it. Lightweight deck. I mean, it is super sturdy. So what's next is I'm going to trim this. I've got a little bit of an overhang here. Just a tiny bit. I'm gonna trim this, give it a little radius, little sand, and then I'll be able to wrap this. Remember, because this bulkhead and this floor was bonded in with epoxy, I now have to marry my polyester side with my epoxy side. So I'm gonna laminate with some 1708. So once I get the deck laminated, then I'm going to, I'm just gonna brush, I'm gonna coat this entire piece of teak with epoxy. So that's how I'm gonna protect this. In the past, I've done some where I did like a clear gel coat mixed with the Duratec, which is good, but nothing quite bonds to wood like epoxy, especially a hardwood. All right, so I trimmed it, and now I've got a little radius. You can see it, kind of, sort of. All right, so I'm in the middle of doing epoxy. I forgot to set up the camera, of course. But what I've done is I want to show you, I've got this epoxied in. And then now I'm just taking my resin, my epoxy, and I am just coating the wood. All right. Oh, there comes the sun. Woo, look at that pop. All right, so it's got it laminated and got everything coated with the FGCI laminating resin. Good thick coat on this wood. It's not perfect, but I just brushed it. And yeah, I'm gonna let this sit in the sun and bake. Alrighty, so I am heading to Blair Propeller. They're in Stewart. Todd Blair is the owner there and a guru when it comes to anything prop related. I mean, his experience is just next level. I want to pick his brain a little bit, and I know this prop needs some work, so I'm gonna drop it off to him and let him pimp it out, and hopefully he says he can do something with my old beat up aluminum prop, my junkyard prop. So it's what I got. So let's see what Todd says, and yeah. I got the prop. Here it is. Blair Propeller coming through. I wanted to get some video footage of the actual facility and talk to Todd and have him explain everything he did to this prop, but he is sick, so I guess we'll save it for a future video. Anyhow, I'm super stoked. This propeller, look how good it looks. Obviously it's been painted, but the work that's been done to it, all the edges, everything is just super clean and tight. So he added 2 inches of pitch to it. So now this is a 17 pitch prop. Put a new hub and actually added a little cup to it. So this thing's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be able to lift the motor up a little bit higher. And so any revs that I possibly would lose, I'll gain by coming out of the water a little bit. But with this increase in pitch, he did his prop slip calculator, which is pretty cool. And this is gonna be right there. I mean, knocking on 50 miles an hour with this prop. So, I don't know, I'm excited to put this thing on. I've got a surprise with who's gonna test run the boat. And now I'm just hoping for good weather. I mean, the wind it's been pretty windy. I'm hoping in the next day or two to get this on the skiff and yeah, go for a test run. Well, my friends, this concludes part 4. Yes, there is gonna be one more part to this build. So in the next video, I'm gonna finish off the cap or the rails, whatever you wanna call it. We're gonna take it on a final test run and it's gonna be painted. I can't wait for you to see how this thing's gonna turn out. So as always, thank you for watching and I'll see you soon. If you ever need construction equipment worked on, this is your guy right here. Look.
Never again.
He loves working on these things.